Hello viewers, today we will see more details about pain and the various theories that are associated with pain. In this lesson, you are going to learn about the historical background or historical context of how pain has been understood, and we will go on to the more modern theories of pain and the later developments which have included not just the physiological component but also the psychological and spiritual components. So, lot of theories have been developed regarding the origin of pain, the purpose of pain, so on and so forth. Historically, pain has been understood not as a condition by itself as it is today, but as a sort of punishment. And the word pain comes from the Latin word piona, which means punishment or fine. The ancient Greeks believed that pain is associated with pleasure, because according to them, the relief of pain resulted in a pleasurable and emotional experience. Aristotle has revised the understanding of pain, and he declared that the sensory system is located in the soul, and according to him, the pain centers are located in the heart region. Romans believed that pain is closely associated with inflammation, which is a closer understanding of modern day physiology. But Aristotle's understanding prevailed. In fact, in as early as in 2nd century, Galen has shared with the Romans or the elite of that day his findings about the nervous system. But unfortunately, they were not accepted, and Aristotle's view that soul is the center of sensory processes and that heart is a region where the pain centers are located continued to dominate. Even in the 5th century, an attempt has been made to challenge Aristotle's explanation, but again Aristotle's views only have prevailed. Until the late 19th century, when modern physiological findings have been developed and brain is located to be the place where all sensory information is processed. So far we have seen the Greeks' concept of pain, Aristotle's own theories about pain, and also the Roman view of pain. Now, let us see our own Indian concept of pain and Indian theories of pain. Charaka in his Charaka Samhita has given a detailed description of the anatomy and physiology of the human body, and where several innovative findings have been recorded paralleling the developments of modern day medical field. But to understand the concept of pain or the purpose of pain or why pain has come, just like other traditional views, the Indian view also held that pain is a form of punishment or because of bad karma. And in order to overcome pain, several methodologies have been recommended in the Indian perspective, like taking some medicine or doing japa or what we call meditation, then visiting places, probably what we can say is taking holiday, and also doing sacrifices where lot of aroma therapy and heat therapy are involved. So, this is the Indian historical view of pain. Now, let us go the modern theories of pain. Firstly, let us deal with Cousin's theory, which is called the psychopathology of pain. So, according to his theory, he says that as a reaction to pain, lot of pathological developments takes place within the body. As a reaction to the injury or disease, the body responds to counter that particular problem, but the body also responds just for as a reaction to the pain. And so, if this pain remains untreated, it is going to be a problem. Please have a look at, in this slide you can see all the harmful effects that Cousin tried to list, which involves cardiovascular and respiratory systems are significantly affected by the pathophysiology of pain. And some of the functions in the body are increased, that is, regardless of their normal functioning, their functioning levels are increased, like for example, increased heart rate, increased cardiac output, and also increased myocardial oxygen consumption. Increased functioning levels of any particular organ in the body requires lot of energy, lot of oxygen. So, if this increased functioning is there for a limited period of time, then it is not going to result in any other harmful effects. But if the pain remains untreated and it is there for a long period of time, then because of this increased functioning in several of these cardiovascular and respiratory systems, both the systems are going to get tired and other problems develop. Now, let us see some of the decreased functions. As is listed in this slide, there is decreased pulmonary vital capacity, decreased alveolar ventilation, that is lung working capacity, and also decreased functional residual capacity, and most importantly, there is also a decrease of the functioning of the immune system. If pain is there for a prolonged period of time, all of us know if the immune system is not working properly, then many other infections come and attack us. So, Cousin in his theory of psychopathology of pain clearly shows what are the harmful effects of pain. So, his theory highlighted the importance of pain and the importance that physicians as well as the patients have to give for pain, and the importance for proper care and treatment at the right time. Now, let us see the next theory, that is on Selye's general adaptation syndrome theory, which he initially developed to explain stress, but it is applicable even to a general pain reactions in the body. So, he listed 3 stages as a response to any kind of injury or trauma to the system or tissue damage. According to him, every individual passes through the 3 stages, and these stages involve lot of efforts from the side of the persons, that is the body mechanisms trying to restore balance, or in biological words, homeostasis. So, please have a look at where all the 3 stages are listed along with the features. So, in this, the first stage according to him is the stage of alarm, and in this stage is the beginning stage where concentration efforts are put at the site of injury or pain. So, first the person reacts in a hyper manner at the place of injury, or the system or the body system reacts first concentrating all the efforts at the place of injury. Then the person goes into the second stage or phase called the stage of resistance, where the body tries its level best to overcome the injury or trauma. In this stage of resistance, the body tries to say, for example, there is an infection. So, as soon as there is infection, in the stage of alarm, what happens is the body sends signals to all the important organs communicating that there is something vitally wrong. So, all the important systems get alerted, and that is when the stage of alarm happens. In the stage of resistance, all the required antibodies try to fight with this infection, and this fighting or this trying to overcome the antigen will take couple of time. It might even run into some days. So, during this stage of resistance, the body tries its level best to overcome the invader, or if it is in the case of tissue damage, the body tries to restore all kinds of resources, gather all resources for the maximum and quick cure of that particular tissue or repair of that tissue. So, in the stage of resistance, the second stage, the oxygen is utilized, all the energy sources in the body are utilized, all the nutrients in the body are utilized. So, it is suggestive that one should not be in the stage of resistance for a long period of time, because all the energy gets depleted, and because of this depletion of energy and resources in the body is going to develop other kinds of problems. So, if everything is set right at the stage of resistance, then the problem is cured. But if unfortunately still the pathogen or problem continues, then the person enters the third phase. As you can see in this slide, it is the stage of exhaustion, maintaining homeostasis or equilibrium or resulting in death. So, it might be, one might wonder, does pain really result in death? Earlier, the views are such that pain is not given much of an importance. More importance is given to the disease condition. But recent findings and recent theories like Selye's adaptation theory has highlighted that if pain is not treated properly, it might even lead to death. That is the stage of exhaustion, when all the energy sources and all the nutrients in the body are used up, all the oxygen levels are used up, and the body is no longer in a state to fight the disease or condition. That is when death results. Two more important theories of pain. One is the specificity theory of pain modulation, and the other theory is pattern theory of pain. Both of these theories have been influential, say about nearly 55 decades back. And according to this specificity theory, this theory states that there is a single passage from the peripheral area to the brain. So, when something happens in a particular point of skin, say for example something bit a person in the arm, so from that place, that is the peripheral area, there is a single pathway directly taking to the brain. That is when pain is perceived. And this theory also states that this pain is carried by a fiber. But Melzack and Wall, they have tried to find evidence for this theory, trying to identify the continuous fiber that is proposed by this specificity theory, but they did not find any such fiber. So, they have rejected this theory. Coming to the pattern theory of pain, this theory explains that pain is transmitted by a single nerve cell, which is called generic nerve, which transmits the pain to the brain, and depending on the kind of differences in pain perception, this nerve only modulates and it conveys or carries the message to the brain. This theory has also been put to evidence by Melzack and Wall, and they again did not find any kind of evidence for this theory. So, they have rejected this theory also. But both these theories have been influential in their own ways for a period of time, and also both these theories have been scientifically tested by pain pathologists, and as a result they could make more discoveries about pain. And it is when Melzack has proposed, as a result of his assessment of earlier theories, he found his own explanation about understanding and perception of pain, and his theory is the most influential theory, which is called the gate control theory. During the time when Melzack has proposed his theory called the gate control theory of pain, there was a lot of debate in the health psychologists regarding the actual nature of pain, because they have observed that there is no one single explanation of pain that can be generalized to all the people. They found that within the same individual, pain is perceived as more during one time, and during other time the same amount of pain is perceived as less severe or more intense. And also across individuals, when the physicians felt the person might be saying that the particular problem is really painful, they were surprised when they found that some individuals do not seem to be experiencing the amount of pain that they thought they would be suffering from. So, based on these discrepancies in the experience of pain and the expression of pain, newer theories are required. And also during this time, scientist Ivan Pavlov, who is known for his learning theory of classical conditioning, where he worked with dogs, he found a unique result in one of his experiments, where he tried to first give shock to the dog and then give food. Initially, the dog responded in a painful manner for the shock, but after continuously associating the shock with food, Ivan Pavlov found that next time when he gave shock and then immediately followed by food, the dog did not react in a shocking way to the shock, but the dog has a pleasant reaction towards the dog, because the pain of shock has been paired with the food. So, this result indicates that pain has much more than just being pain, because the health psychologists started realizing, or the physicians or the biologists started realizing, that there is much more to pain. It is then when the psychological components have been coming into fore. And many theories have been put forth, some including the psychological component and some only themselves talking about psychological aspect of pain. But before that we go on to details of these theories, let us discuss about an interesting experiment that has been done on 215 soldiers who were at war. So, these soldiers are injured soldiers, they were hospitalized because of their injuries, and the person who is working with them, Beecher, found that only 24% of the soldiers who have been hospitalized for various wounds have asked for any kind of pain medication. And in fact, 60% of the soldiers reported that they have no pain or very mild pain. So, this really made Beecher think, because he could certainly see, being a physician, that based on the severity of the wound, many more soldiers should have been asking for pain medication and should be feeling painful. So, it is then when he started trying to understand what is happening here, and he found that there is nothing physiologically different for them not to experience pain. Neither are they in shock, because if they are in shock, they will not feel pain. So, Beecher made sure that these soldiers are not in shock and nothing is physiologically wrong otherwise, but still they are not feeling pain. So, he understood the role of psychological factors, and in his results he explains that for these soldiers, removing from the war front is itself rewarding, because now they are in the hospital, which is a very rewarding and stress free peaceful environment. So, that sort of condition for them has made them to perceive pain also as sweet. So, they did not report more pain than what they are actually perceiving at that time because of these psychological conditions. Many recent theories try to, that is why, include the psychological component also. Melzack has put forth his influential theory, the gate control theory, wherein he tried to explain how psychological factors have a resultant physiological changes. So, he also explained that there is a kind of gate mechanism that operates. So, basing on certain factors, the gate opens, that is when more pain is perceived, and basing on certain other factors, this same gate gets closed, and that is when the patient does not feel much pain. So, now let us see the figurative representation of gate control theory. Please look at slide. In this slide, you can see that the solid arrows in this figure depict stimulation conditions that tend to open the gate and send pain signals through the gate, and the dotted arrows indicate inhibition conditions, that is when pain signals enter the spinal cord and pass through a gating mechanism before activating transmission cells which send impulses to the brain. So, this figure has both gate open condition and also gate closed condition. So, according to this theory, different factors operate to keep the gate closed and the gate open. Melzack lists three important factors that influence the gate. That is, the first one is activity in the pain fibers, activity in the peripheral areas, and also the messages that are transmitted from the brain. So, activity in all these areas tends to have an impact on whether the gate is closed or open. Now, in the next slide, let us see what are all the factors when the gate is kept open and when it kept closed. And in this, Melzack summarizes all the factors that or conditions that open or close the gate. In this, majorly there are three conditions. One is physical condition, emotional condition, and psychological condition. So, during physical conditions, to keep the gate open are extent of injury and inappropriate activity level. And physical conditions that keep the gate closed are medication, of course, and counter stimulation like massage. So, these two conditions keep the gate closed physically. Coming to emotional conditions, the gate becomes open, that is when more pain is perceived by anxiety or worry, tension, and also depression. But the gate gets closed when positive emotions are there, relaxation is there, and also when the patient is in a restful condition. Coming to the psychological conditions, gait is open when there is more focus on the pain and also when the patient feels boredom. On the other hand, gait remains closed when there is intense concentration or when the patient is distracted and he is looking at something else. And also when the patient involves and is interested in life activities, then also the gait keeps closed. So, by these factors, Melzack has shown ways of controlling and dealing with pain, because some of the factors that he has listed seem to be very much in our hands in controlling and modulating pain mechanisms.